Hello, everyone. This is Charlotte Pierce. Hi, Adrienne. We are here with a conference preview, a preview of one of the sessions at our publishing conference coming up on November 1st and 2nd. It's a virtual conference. So if you're in Morocco, you can join us. If you're in Schenectady, New York, you can join us. And Adrienne is out there in
Shoreline, Washington, which
Shoreline,
is just
Washington.
north of Seattle, Washington, the great Pacific Northwest.
My old stopping ground.
Actually, we had a family vacation in Gloucester this past summer, so it's nice to be back in New England, if only virtually.
Yeah, I was up in Maine at the New England Library Conference that we had an exhibit at, and I went down to the harbor and I had a lobster roll. You have to have in Maine, but it was like $30.
Yeah.
It was nutty. Anyway, getting back to the conference, I highly recommend you go on IPNE.org and check out the schedule. Adrienne will be speaking on, what is it?
It is Beyond the Book Fair, direct sales strategies that bring you readers.
And that's on Friday,
November 1st. And I think it's 4 p.m. your time, 1 p.m.
Something like that, yeah. Anyway, if you go on IPNE.org, you'll find the schedule and look it up. Adrienne is an author, editor, and book coach, and something we all need if we're publishing.
Thank you.
Is a professional editor and sometimes somebody to hold our hand, right?
I am a book author. I wrote Turning Homeward, Restoring Hope in Nature in the Urban Wild. I've been doing direct sales of Turning Homeward at community events, and it has given the book a new lease on life. It has been absolutely fabulous. I also recently finished my second book manuscript. I did just last week, so I'm kind of excited about that. But from my experiences doing direct sales with Turning Homeward, I now have the confidence to know that if I produce my second book as an independent author, it is going to be reaching readers. So my goal is that this workshop will give people the skills, the knowledge, the confidence so that they can also have really positive experiences with their direct sales events. When I'm not selling my book or writing new books, I am also a book reviewer for the New York Journal of Books, which is an online book review magazine. And as you mentioned, I'm also a freelance developmental editor. So I help other independent authors bring their books to completion and bring them forward to the market.
Yeah, well, as a publisher, I get, quite a few submissions, and I think a lot of them could have seen a developmental editor before.
I think that's true. There's been a real encouragement of people to write their story, either their memoirs, their personal stories, the children's books they wish that they had available to give to their children. And that's wonderful. And the technology is such now that this is an achievable goal, but you still need to have the skills at writing. You need to spend the time learning how to write. And even a professional writer who has published multiple books knows that they need to turn to a developmental editor and help them give that objective outside view. What is working? What is not working? What's the strengths? What's the challenges? What's the character arc, the narrative arc? If you're a new first-time author, you need to learn terms like this, and you need to find somebody to work with who will help you make the book be the absolute best that you want it to be.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an old forest for the trees thing. If you've written a book, you're so invested in it and the story, but there might be a hole in the narrative that just turns somebody off or makes them stop reading.
You're not writing the book for yourself. I mean, some people do write the book for themselves, and that's fine.
That's
but
fine.
If they want to publish it, they're writing it for a reader.
Yeah.
So they need somebody to stand outside of the book and look at it as a reader would look at it.
Right.
What would be the questions that a reader has? The writer doesn't have those questions because the writer already knows the answer.
Exactly.
But someone has never read the book before. What are they thinking about? What's not making sense? What is making sense? What needs a deeper dive? to really
So,
bring out the author's personal wisdom.
so in this, I mean, beyond the book fair, is the direct sales, is that like off your website or actually physical sales in
That's an excellent question.
uh-huh.
I'm going to backpack a little bit. Recently, the Alliance of Independent Authors released their 2024 Indie Author Big Data Drop. And what they
Okay.
found is that more and more independent authors are looking at direct sales, but most of them, they're thinking about it, they're considering it, they haven't really done it. And there's a lot going on under the definition of direct sales. So for some people, that's selling their book
Mhm.
directly on their website. For some
Yeah.
people, it's setting up a Shopify or some other online marketplace. For some people, it's listing their book at some online marketplace like Fair, where people go to buy any number of
Okay.
different gifts for friends or relatives or for themselves.
So
What
you'll be
I'm
giving us some of those tools or those
what
sites.
I'm going to be talking about is a particular kind of direct sale event.
Okay.
And that is going to be a community event that is open to everybody in the public.
Mhm.
That's outside the writing community, that's outside the literary community. So instead of this unfortunate circumstance of a lot of writers talking to other writers and trying to
Mm.
get other writers to buy their book, we're going to be talking about how to go to find where your readers are.
I know,
So
we have
we're going to
this
be,
Facebook group that like for IPNE, you know, and it's a support group. It's like where you talk about your challenges and your share information, right? So
and
people
that's
come
what I'm
on and they
hoping that
say, "Here's my
happens.
new book, you know, buy it now." And it's not their audience.
Yeah, and but direct sales at a community events, if you go onto a Facebook group for writers or a chat group or
Yeah.
a professional listserv, it is really contentious, if not outright controversial. There are people who love it and it's been great for them, and there are people who hate it and never want to do it again.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that we're going to get people at the workshop who will have had a whole range of those
Oh,
experiences
you will.
to
Yeah.
talk about the nitty gritty. But getting back to what kinds of direct sales I'm going to be talking about, it's going to be where your readers are. So it's a paradigm shift, if you'll pardon the cliched expression. Think PTA fundraisers.
Yeah.
Think your local senior center's holiday gift fair. Think your
Wow.
city's summer concert in the park. Think your neighborhood street festival.
Mhm.
All these places, think of where your readers could possibly be. And maybe they would buy your book if it was presented to them in the places where they regularly go.
Yeah. Like we had my town, Arlington, Mass, has a town day, and this is the fourth year we've had a IPNE exhibit there.
Right.
It's tricky to find the sort of hook from all these like masses of people walking by. You know,
We're
like
going
how do you get them in to? Yeah.
we're going to be talking about that
Okay.
because the Beyond the Book Fair is going to be a very nitty gritty, nuts and bolts presentation. How do
Yeah.
you find your venues? How do
Okay.
you bring readers to your table in a way
Nice.
that's fun and engaging for everybody? How do you turn a book sale into an engagement, a long term engagement with a reader, someone who's going to return to you time and time again?
And that's
What are
all
the
in
business?
about 15 seconds or 10 seconds that you have when they're cruising by sometimes.
Well, but what can you do to get them to your table? And
Yes.
I don't want to go into it too specifically here because
Right.
I'm hoping to bring people to the workshop, frankly.
No,
But we're going to be
that's true.
talking about things like are there giveaways that make sense that will bring people to your table, and are there giveaways that will just have people will grab and then leave? And I
Mhm.
assure you that if you're putting out milk duds or Hershey kisses on your table, people are going to they're going to grab the candy and they're going to go. But maybe there's something else. If
Yeah.
you're a cookbook author, maybe there's a recipe that you can give them in the form of a postcard that has a
Oh,
QR code to your website. So it's this kind of
cool.
nitty-gritty stuff we're going to be talking about.
I
And
love
we're
it.
going to be talking about too what happens when someone says, "No, I don't want to read your book," because that's going to happen. That will happen to
Mhm.
everybody. People will say no. And what is almost as bad is when people say, "Yeah, I really want to buy your book, but I don't have any cash and I don't have credit cards and I use
Oh,
my
I
phone
saw
and
that
it's
in your
only hooked up
bio.
to this
Yeah.
really weird payment system that maybe
Yeah.
10 people on the planet have heard about. Can you handle it? Well, what do? That, because that is coming up more and more
It
and
is.
more. People
Like,
are coming
everybody
forward
has
with these
Venmo
things
now,
that
and,
I've never heard of, no one has heard of yet. So
yeah.
it's going to be this very nitty gritty how to do it, and do it so that you're well prepared, you're having fun, you can be
Nice.
relaxed and engaged. I'm going to be talking, but we're also going to use the chat function I'm hoping we have a chat function. I think we're doing
Oh,
this
yeah,
on Zoom.
absolutely. That's
So
the
I'll be
beauty
doing
of this. Yeah.
brainstorms throughout,
Mhm.
add in a brainstorm.
Okay.
I'm hoping to have a really lively question and answer session. And as I said before, I'm really hoping that people who have done this come to the session, even if your experiences have been horrible. Tell people about it, because we can help
Mhm.
you make it better, and you can help other people avoid the mistakes. I mean, I'm going to be talking about mistakes that I've made,
Yes.
because the only way to learn anything new and to learn how to do it well is to be comfortable with the fact that you're going to be making mistakes. This is just life.
And just kind of take a mental note of what works. Like, if you get that person
Exactly.
that comes over and, what did I do that made it work? Yeah.
One of the things I'm going to be stressing towards the end of the presentation are the business skills and business tools that you need. And
Good.
one of them is going to be to have a business manual. It can be anything. It can be a Google Doc. It can be one of these, 3x5 Moleskine notebooks. It can be anything that you want it to be, but you've got to write down, basically deprogram yourself, debrief. What happened at this event? What went well? What went badly? What can I anticipate for the next event?
That's the
And
thing that so many of us don't take the time to do, is project action review.
right,
Yeah.
even things like, for most people, there's going to be a gap, a 5 or 6 month gap in sales. So at least in the part of the neck of the woods
Uh-huh.
I'm in, book fair events, the community events will start up around April, May, once the winter is
Mhm.
over. And then will be a big boost in the summer, kind of go quiet in the fall. As we get towards the winter holidays, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, people are buying books. There's going to be a big boost of holiday fairs and festivals where you can sell your books. But that means that roughly January through April, you're going to have a gap. So if you found some widget on some website that tells you how to easily set up your taxes on your point of sale system, if you found some really great
Put that
parking
in your,
space
yeah.
for,
Mhm.
for this festival, if you found that, gee, the people are great, but the logistics of it and the layout, you're going to write that down in
Mm.
however you set up your business manual. You don't even have to call it a business manual. You can call it anything you want, but you've got to record that knowledge,
Yeah.
because that way it is knowledge, and it's not simply something that you have to kind of try and struggle to remember 6 months later, and maybe you will and maybe you won't.
Great advice. I can't wait to see this. I've done several of these previews, and I swear I'll go to every one of them, because I've talked, y'all have talked me into it, and I'm moderating some. We're doing one on translation rights and foreign rights, which used to be called foreign rights. Anyway, the conference is on November 1st and 2nd. It's virtual. Anyone can go from anywhere. And it's always a fantastic learning experience. You meet people like Adrienne Ross-Scanlan and get it good, practical, solid advice for making a success of your book project.
Great, great.
So
I'm looking forward to seeing everybody.
we are looking forward to seeing you there.
Okay.